Welcome to a new episode of the 90s Metal Gamer, where we stay hydrated and play video games. This video is long overdue. For as much as I hate this game, and as much as I talk about hating this game, I feel like I need to address it here. It is a well-known fact that Sonic 06 is often berated and chastised, and for very good reason. It sucks. Let's be real here. It just sucks. Sonic 06 had a lot of potential to be a really great game, but Sega dropped the ball, and dropped the ball miserably. And I'm going to express my grievances about this game in this casual review video of Sonic 06. Now I have to be 100% transparent here. I did not finish this game at all. It was too broken for me to finish, and it made me want to rage quit. Just take a look at these physics here. Look at it. Why am I just hanging upside down like that? So before I go on a violent rant about this game, cue the channel intro.
And then the Lord said,
I want to see your tiny head.
It's no secret how I feel about this game, and if you don't know, I absolutely despise it. And the main reason why I am making this video is because Sonic 06 really does make for some good content on YouTube. That is the main reason. The secondary reason being that I feel like I need to address why I hate it so much. Before I get into this review video, I want to talk a little bit about the history of Sonic 06 and why it is the way it is. Sonic 06 was meant to be celebratory to 15 years of Sonic, and it was supposed to be kind of a rebirth or a reboot, a soft reboot to the entire series. It was developed by Sonic Team and published by Sega for the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3. And also debuted a new character called Silver. We'll talk more about Silver later though. The main reason why Sonic 06 was nearly unplayable was because the development team was trying to release it in time for the holidays. Speaking of which, it released November 14th, 2006. Hence the reason why it's called Sonic 06. And to also distinguish it from its OG counterpart that goes by the same name, Sonic the Hedgehog. I remember having this game already pre-ordered at a local game store called Game Crazy. And on the day that it released, I went and picked it up, thinking I was gonna have so much fun playing a rebooted Sonic game. And I was wrong. This game is nothing more than a tech demo to show the capabilities of the Havok engine. And Sonic Team didn't even do that correctly. Everything was still broken in this game. Sonic 06 had the potential to be something great, something memorable, something amazing, revolutionary even. But because Sonic Team wanted it to be released before the holidays, they rushed it. And the end result really shows. Alright, I'm going to stop myself in this angry rant before I go any further. During this review, we're going to go over the story, the gameplay, the presentation, and the music. And then we'll wrap it all up with a water score. Let's get started.
Sega.
As I mentioned earlier in this video, this game was meant to be a reboot to the series, if you want to call it that. And the story has changed as well. So, because I suck at storytelling, I'm gonna let the game tell the story for me. Enjoy.
It's all right. We give thanks for the blessed flames. May we always continue to have peace. Son of Soleanna, guide and watch over us with your eternal light.
Pleasure to meet you at last, Princess of Soleanna. I am Dr. Eggman. I've come here to obtain the secret of the Flames of Disaster from you, and to take the miracle gems that are the key to its secret, the Chaos Emerald. Now, Princess, this way, please.
That's a pretty snazzy performance there.
You? It can't be.
I'm Sonic! Sonic the Hedgehog!
Not the irritating hedgehog again! Attack!
I finally found him. The Iblis Trigger.
Why are you helping me?
No special reason.
Sonic!
I'm afraid our little game ends now.
Sonic! Take this!
I've got it! And don't worry, I'll rescue you!
I know.
It's only a matter of time before it's mine. Until then, you can hold on to it for me.
And there you have it. That is the main story, or at least Sonic's story, of Sonic 06. In my own humble opinion, the story is actually pretty good. Unfortunately, the story was overshadowed by its horrible gameplay, which we'll talk more about later. Other than that opening cutscene, there is a lot more to unpack in this game. The main goal in Sonic's story is to rescue Princess Elise and defeat Dr. Eggman. And wouldn't you know, surprise surprise, he does. Considering that time travel is included in the story, it is surprisingly still very easy to follow. Sonic goes after the bad guy, rescues the princess, the world is saved. Not only is there a Sonic story, but there is also a Silver story and a Shadow story. Now, in order to maintain 100% transparency, I played their stories, but I could not finish it. Shadow's story in Sonic 06 is a little bit different from Sonic's story, but they all intertwine. For Shadow, you are sent on a rescue mission. You need to rescue Rouge the Bat. Rouge the Bat was sent by Gun to retrieve the Scepter of Darkness from Eggman's base at White Acropolis. Communication was lost, so it's up to you to find her. Shadow and Rouge the Bat try to escape with the Scepter of Darkness in hand, but they are intercepted by Eggman and his robots. During that fight, the Scepter of Darkness is shattered to pieces, and when it shatters, it frees Mephiles the Dark. Mephiles has a striking resemblance to Shadow, just different colors and no mouth, which I thought was really weird. I'm not sure if Sega did that intentionally or that was coincidental. Now this is where it gets kind of confusing, but not really. As a reward for freeing Mephiles, Mephiles says, "What you give to me, I now return to you," and throws him back in time. But they just kind of pop out of there. I don't know how to explain it. It would have been nice to have some kind of cool transition for them out of there, but no, they just straight up blipped out. I don't know how to describe it. Rouge and Shadow have no idea where they are, and now they're making it a mission to get back to their own time and place. And like I said earlier, I did not complete Shadow's portion of the game because the game itself was just far too broken. Once again, because I suck at storytelling, I'm going to let the game tell you Silver's story.
This world
Enjoy.
was devastated before I was born. A harsh, bleak place where we live in eternal darkness. Life is a struggle, and people live without hope. How did this happen? No one will answer me directly, but they always point to the flames. These flames, they burn away at my world, destroying everything in their path. They come from an eternal life form that we cannot truly defeat, the flames of disaster known as Iblis.
Silver!
Blaze, what's wrong?
He's appeared again!
Iblis! Today, it will be finished!
For Silver's story, I honestly don't know what's going on. I did not finish his story either, because his gameplay was far worse than that of Shadow's or Sonic's. I'll talk more about the broken gameplay in the next segment of this video. I'm going to start off with the worst one here, Silver. His gameplay is just all around terrible, far more broken than that of Sonic or Shadow's. Silver's movesets are based off of his psychokinesis, and if I'm correct, the reason for this is because Sega wanted to show off the capabilities of the Havok engine, and they did not even do that correctly. Literally everything you do is centered around his psychokinesis. He does not have a homing attack, he cannot spin dash, nothing. Everything has to do with his psychokinesis, and I thought that was really boring. And to top it all off, the game doesn't really introduce you to the controls very well. It kind of just throws you in there and hopes for the best. Sonic's gameplay was way better to use comparatively to Silver's gameplay, although I will say it is still pretty bad. Sonic's movesets are fairly simple to use. The most common one you'll be using is the homing attack. Now what I dislike about the homing attack is that there's no lock-on reticles to see where you're going, so you may inadvertently lock onto something you didn't mean to, and then ended up falling off screen. It's happened to me a few times. The controls themselves are one thing, but being able to control Sonic is another. Because of the broken controls, I died quite a few times. And there was even a point where I was starting to think, am I the problem? Am I the one with stupid hands? But then I came back to reality and realized what I was playing. Sonic 06. And that's the problem. Watching my gameplay does not do it justice to see how bad these controls really are. In fact, I had to do some accommodation to make up for these broken controls. I eventually got used to it, but still pretty bad. This is one of those things where you just have to experience it for yourselves. The last one I'm going to cover is Shadow. His controls were better than that of Sonic or Silver's. Considering that it is Shadow, his gameplay was more focused on the combat side of this game, being able to take out enemies much faster than his counterparts. Even though his controls were slightly better than that of the other two, it was still pretty bad. I once again had to accommodate for the wonky controls just so I can tolerate this game. Once again, watching my gameplay does not give you the full experience of just how bad these controls are. You simply have to experience it for yourself. But I must advise that you do not. Aside from the Shadow, Sonic, and Silver characters that you play as, you can also play as Tails, Knuckles, and Rouge the Bat. But I'm not going to talk much about them. I am going to talk about Tails though, just for a little bit. Tails' gameplay is absolutely horrendous. He only has one attack. It is the Ring Bomb, or the Ring Grenade. I don't know exactly what it's called. It's a bubble filled with fake rings, and upon impact, it explodes, tossing out those fake rings. And it's hard to differentiate which ones are the fake rings and the real rings. It got really confusing. Knuckles and Rouge the Bat play very similar to each other, climbing walls, etc., etc. They both play like tanks, and not in a good way. The graphics for any given game have a very minimal contribution if the gameplay and the story is good. Well, in this case, the gameplay is absolutely terrible. The story is actually pretty good. And the graphics are one of the few redeeming qualities about this game. This pre-rendered cutscene of Shadow's introduction to his story is really beautiful. And as you saw earlier in this video, the initial cutscene to Sonic's story is absolutely beautiful as well. After the pre-rendered cutscenes, it does take quite the dive. Now, I'm not saying that the gameplay graphics are bad, because, to be quite honest, they are really good. Beautiful even. But when you compare it against the pre-rendered cutscenes, the difference is night and day. Even if Sonic Team and Sega phoned in the graphics in this game, I would say they're still good. The snowy stages in this game really make it feel like you're on Mount Everest. And while you're in the foresty type stages, the game really does try its best to be as authentic as possible to the OG games, and I can respect that. Overall, the presentation was a very amazing experience. And in case you haven't picked up on this, I'm trying to separate each element and looking at them independently, as opposed to collectively. The only thing that is better than the graphics is the music. The music is phenomenal in this game.
I've got to hurry and save Elise.
The very first stage that you play as Sonic really gives me Sonic Adventure vibes, and I love it.
Press the A button to perform a rogue attack.
Darn! We're not gonna make it! Let's speed up!
Overall, the music was very fun to listen to, and it gave me a nostalgic feeling of Sonic Adventure. I loved it.
What?
The goal that I have set for this channel is to maintain 100% transparency on how I beat these games and how I feel about them. And Sonic 06 is not going to be any different. I said it earlier in this video and I'm going to reiterate it. I finished Sonic's portion of this game, but I did not finish Shadows, nor did I finish Silver's. And I'll explain why. The gameplay mechanics are far too broken and glitchy for me to even think about playing this game again. Do I love Sonic? Absolutely, I love it. Sonic is what got me into gaming in the 90s. And Sonic is partially the reason why I started this channel. Considering that I was not able to beat Shadows and Silver's portion of this game, I give this game a water score of inconclusive. It would not be fair if I gave it a score without having completed all of the character stories, and that is the reason why I give it an inconclusive score. I guess you could consider this my official start of my New Game Plus series. More to follow on that though. Thanks for watching my video. I truly do appreciate it, and I really do mean that. If you're new here, please consider subscribing to the channel. I love y'all, stay hydrated, and stay tuned for my next video.